There's a new wind blowing across the earth. It's bringing with it a brand new birth. The lamb and the lion will lay down side by side. They will live together in a brand new world.
Namaste Publishing seems to me to have a very different vision from a lot of publishing houses. To begin with, because it seems that a lot of publishing houses find a book that they think can really sell and sell well, and they push that. And it seems like underneath Namaste Publishing is something that is much more powerful, much more real for you than any of the financial, economic sales, than anything else. Can you speak about that?
I never sought to be a publisher. I never sought out other authors. They came to me through what I believe to be the law of attraction.
And I'd like to talk a little bit about what the teachings are. What did you learn from Eckhart Tolle? What does he say in his book? Why is this so powerful?
Well, I think what Eckhart was able to do was to just evoke from me, and I believe from other readers, the awareness they already have, but their egoic mind has been blocking them from owning.
What's an egoic mind?
The easiest way I could express what the ego is it's a false, limited sense of self born out of fear. And therefore we believe we are weak and we need to be afraid because this world is out there that is threatening, and so we have to defend ourselves against others in order to protect our survival, our life. That is not who we are.
Now, a lot of people would say that that's the reality of the world that we live in, that there's war and there's starvation and there's trauma, there's abuse and there's poverty and stress. And
when you look at war, conflict, famine, there's competition, there's I need to survive, I need to be better than, I need to be safe, it's me against you, it's us against them, it's the United States against Iraq. It is born of separation thinking. The ego is isolated. It breaks things down, and that's why the mind, the thinking mind, is its force, because the mind does that as well. So if you're identified with your thinking mind, you're identified with your egoic self. So Eckhart, came along and really helped us just see what we have already known, but the ego mind had been covering up. I attended one of his teachings. I used to attend more than I can now. And he had this huge audience. I believe it was at Rhinebeck, New York, Omega campus for one of the retreats. And people came from all over, not only the United States and Canada, but from Europe as well. And so Eckhart always begins his teachings sitting in stillness. And the first words he said were, my, oh my, it's really interesting how far some of you traveled just to sit with yourself. So, it says a lot.
it does.
Yeah.
I think it says a lot about people in our society, how much they hunger for something else. That we are very bombarded, in a sense, by needs and stress and materialism, and a lot of people really hunger for something else. It sounds like you did when you were in the boardroom and first heard about Eckhart Tolle. Why is it so powerful?
Well, because at that time, let's go back to when I had this inexplicable kind of urge to sit in a sangha and share spiritual practice and community. That obviously came from what I call my inner grower. It was prompting me to grow spiritually. So Eckhart arrived when the student was ready and assisted me to do just that, to grow into knowing that I didn't need an outside teacher, that everything was within, your inner knower, your inner grower, your inner healer. And Eckhart will always say, don't look at me. Do not look at the teacher. Look at the teaching. Because if we start looking at the teacher, we've created an idol. It's somebody outside of ourselves, separate from ourselves, that's different from ourselves, and in some way better because they've been given the label teacher. So Eckhart will always point you back to the fact that you already know this. And so as we develop that inner trust, and through spiritual practice of entering into stillness, where you get in touch with the core of your being, you develop this joy and confidence in living, and a trust for life itself.
Well, what does it mean to enter into an inner stillness?
Well, in the leap, I say that stillness is the foundation for this evolutionary leap, which I feel we are about to take. The greatest discovery of the end of the last century and the beginning of this was that the human species had evolved sufficiently in our consciousness to actually continue to evolve consciously and not by haphazard forces called, I guess, survival of the fittest. So imagine, for the first time in the evolutionary timeline of our species, we have choice. Are we going to evolve as a species, or are we going to go the way of the dinosaurs? And if we are going to evolve, what do we want to evolve to? We have choice.
Why now? Why is there an evolution happening now? Why not 100 years ago or 200 years in the future?
Again, that's a really good question, because look around. Are we in crisis? Yeah,
Yes.
really. But when you look at the flow of evolution from 14 billion years ago, when we had the Big Bang, to now, that evolutionary impulse has always been with us. And when we see the leaps that have taken place in evolution over the last 14 billion years, we see that crisis has always driven an evolutionary leap. Crisis is the driver of quantum leaps in evolution. That's why I feel we're on the verge of a quantum leap if we choose to exercise our free choice to evolve as a species and how we would like to.